everybody, it's Kevin Keys, and tonight I'm coming to you to do a really quick video. I'm doing a nice chuck roast. We're going to make a nice rub for that roast. And I was going to put it in a slow cooker, but I changed my mind. I'm going to go ahead and just sear it and let it cook slowly on the stove top. Tonight, I'm having a glass of wine. Actually a bottle of wine, but I'm actually drinking Barefoot Merlot. And it's very good. Get you nice and relaxed too after a rough week. So, alright, I hope you'll stay and join us. Alright everybody, so here is our chuck roast. This is it's almost like 3.5 pounds of chuck roast. It's a nice cut. So what I'm going to do here is I have a few seasonings here that I'm going to share with you. We're going to make a nice rub, a simple rub. I have here some garden seasoning that I use, and it's actually mixed with a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning, which you could get at Walmart. It's McCormick Montreal steak seasoning. Here I have a little garlic powder. Of course, cumin. You guys should know by now I love using cumin. A little bit of onion powder. And have a little bit of paprika. And then I have a little bit of accent, which it's like a salt substitute. But you even with salt substitutes, you want to use them sparingly, because you know it could still spike up your blood pressure and things like that. So just be careful with any seasoning or salt that you use. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these seasonings and dump them into my little bowl here, and I have about anywhere from 1 to 2 tablespoons of each seasoning in the containers here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this and just going to blend all of our seasonings together till they're nice and blended. So everything is mixed well and one uniformed color. Let's see here. Take a little while here. Come on now. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just take this seasoning and rub the top and bottom of my chuck roast. Now I did rinse my chuck roast off and patted it dry with a paper towel afterwards, because we don't want to put wet meat into hot oil on the skillet, because that will cause a lot of popping, and I do not feel like running away from the pan today. So I patted my meat dry so it's nice and ready to meet that hot oil. And it's even still a little wet, but you only could do so much. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take you can take a handful if you want and just kind of sprinkle it over the meat. Nice amount. You can use all of this. We want it to be nice and thick on there. All those seasonings to get deep into the crevices of the meat. You just want to rub it in. You can massaging somebody. Just rub it in nice until all the powdery seasonings are, gone. You want to make sure it's inside of the grains of the meat here, so you don't waste any seasoning. Just anywhere you can, just rub, rub, rub. You could do the sides a little bit too. We have some extra seasoning. And it can get messy, so if you make a mess, that's okay. That is okay. We can clean that up afterwards. Okay, so just make sure the top of your meat is nicely covered evenly. Okay. What I'm going to do is flip this And we're gonna coat the other side. Okay. Sprinkle your seasonings over the meat. Just like so. And rub it in. Like you're massaging someone's back. You can get those sides. Don't worry about making a mess. Cooking can be messy. That's okay. All right. Okay, so you see it's not too hard, right? Mix all your seasonings together so they distribute evenly across the meat. Some people, you could also, what's a good tip is to let your meat set out for maybe half an hour before you do anything with it, just to let it get nice and room temperature so it cooks a little more evenly. Okay, so here we go. It's nice and covered well. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to place it into the skillet here, which I have a little bit of olive oil. It's been heating up on low. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back up to low medium flame. Now when we put our chuck roast into the skillet, we want to lay it away from ourselves and just give it a little shake to get rid of any excess seasoning. There we go. Fit, perfect fit. Alright, so I turn my heat up. So soon you'll hear more of a sizzle here. I'm just going to wash my hands. So turn it up a little bit more. Alright, so what we're going to do is brown both sides. And then I'm going to add a little bit of liquid and cover the top and let it steep so it comes out nice and tender. And it'll have a nice brown crust on both sides. Alright, so we'll see you in a few. Okay, so as you can see, our meat is flipped. And it's nice and brown. See that nice brown goodness on the edges there, a little black there in the middle, but that's what we want. We want that nice toasted kind of crunchy coating on the outside of the meat. And then soon we'll be adding a broth. I think I'm going to add a little bit of beef broth that I made a while ago. Just a little bit, maybe a little butter, just for extra flavoring. And we're going to let it steep with our lid covered over the top of the pan, just so it stays nice and tender. And we shall see how this comes out. But yeah, so you had our roast, we made our rub, covered it fully, browned it on one side. Now we're browning the other side. And we'll just add a little bit of liquid, maybe about a cup of beef broth. Put the top on and let that bad boy cook maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours, or until tender. And you should have you a nice stove top roast, chuck roast. Alright, we'll do that. Okay, so I'm cutting up a little bit of zucchini here. I'm going to cook it in some beef broth that I made a few weeks ago. So I'm going to also take them and just chop them in half like this. Sorry guys, I don't have a lot of room here. I gotta work with what I have. I'm just going to chop them in half, like little half moons. Like that. Okay. Yes, sir. Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and throw them in my beef broth, which is over here. Okay. And we'll let those come to a nice boil. Zucchini, they don't take very long to cook. You just cook them until they're nice and tender. Okay. So you can add a little whatever seasoning you like into this, so maybe a little salt and pepper. And you could also season it with some fresh herbs. I have fresh rosemary here, and I also have fresh thyme, which is one of my favorites. It's very good. So what I'm also going to do is chop up some sweet potatoes here, and I will also boil those to serve with my zucchini. Alright, so once we get all these chopped up, we'll wrap up everything together and hopefully give you a final picture or clip of the finished product. Okay? Okay, everybody, here's a quick overview of the dinner. I chopped my sweet potatoes the same way I did the zucchini, in half moon shapes. I boiled them in a little bit of beef broth. Once that broth dissolved, I added a little bit of butter, herbs, and spices. I added some mushroom to my zucchini. Those also have herbs and spices added. And before I took my meat out of the pan, I added a little more barbecue sauce, sliced it up nicely, and added a little dried parsley on the top. So it's a very simple dish. It just takes time and patience. And I hope you'll try this dish. And if you have any more questions for me, subscribe or send me an email. Anything I could do better, I will work on it. And I thank you for watching. And we appreciate your subscriptions, and have a lovely day. Thank you.